I don't think movies or television have any basis in reality at all. It's all just pretend. That's what's fun about it. The first perk of theater is the girls. Sometimes with people their work is the most important thing to them. And sometimes the work enables you to do other things that are more important to you. I probably am closer to that. I think also there's no question that Lincoln has been diluted down through history in some way, almost by becoming as iconic as he is. In a way he's become diluted. I think that Barack Obama faces a level of divisiveness, and I don't mean on a national level in terms of the North and the South and the Civil War, I really mean just politically. If I don't need the money, I don't work. Acting for me is a passion. But it's also a job, and I've always approached it as such. I have a certain manual laborist view of acting. There's no shame in taking a film because you need some money. Love is the one emotion actors allow themselves to believe. Working in theater, film or television are three different jobs for an actor, and I accept them as such. I'd like to thank the Academy, and I'd like to thank my mother, and I'd like to thank my mother again, because I forgot to thank her last year. I lost interest in firearms because we had a dog that was scared to death of the sound of a rifle shot. The script is the coloring book that you're given, and your job is to figure out how to color it in, and also when and where to color outside the lines. I've had a lazy career. Sometimes one film a year, sometimes none. I'm walking around in the street and doing this other thing, living, that I'm much more interested in. I just do some acting on the side. Acting is easy and fun. You earn a lot of money, and you bang out with girls. The profession is given tremendous significance within our society, but it's not really worthy of it. Fear plays an interesting role in our lives. How dare we let it motivate us? How dare we let it into our decision-making, into our livelihoods, into our relationships? It's funny, isn't it? We take a day a year to dress up in costumes and celebrate fear. If I don't need the money, I don't work. I'm going to spend time with my family and friends, and I'm going to travel and read and listen to music and try to learn a little bit more about how to be a human being, as opposed to learning how to be somebody else. People who supported Obama felt like they formed a relationship, that they were being spoken to. The way that campaign worked and the way he's worked during his first term is to make people feel like he's grasping their hand, whether it's by tweeting or email, moments after an event, sometimes during an event. It makes people relate to him. I look for things that are very different from my life, and that are curious and idiosyncratic to me. And then, I like to find if I'm able, just a little bit, To step into a world that I know very little about. That's great fun. The most interesting heroes have a bit of villainy to them, and the most interesting villains have a certain bit of heroism in them. I think Alan Shore intends to do the right thing, but his view of the world is very different, so, to get to the right place, he sometimes takes a path that goes through a very dark forest. Every film you work on is different, and that's part of what it's like for anybody who works on a film, is to learn how to work with others. Learn from top to bottom. Actors have to learn how to work with the director, and the director has to learn how to work with actors, and that's not just those two departments. I'm not eager at all to present my life out there for public consumption. I like to do 1 or 2 films a year and then do what is absolutely obligatory in terms of promoting them. My life outside of films is vital to me. It's necessary to readjust and then try again. And then readjust and try again. Fathers have to do that with sons, and mothers have to do that with daughters. The level of readjustment isn't quite so much when fathers are dealing with daughters and mothers are dealing with sons. You know, when you choose to make your living as an actor, it's all fine and good to look at it as some kind of artistic endeavor. At its best, it is that. But the fact is, most of the actors out there don't earn $3 million a picture, and can't afford to take 2 years off between films and look for the right thing. Most of us are tradesmen. Growing up, I didn't have any comic books, at all. But my friend had a trunk full of them, so comic books were like candy for me. I would go over to his house for a sleepover, and I would just be devouring everything I could get my hands on. I knew the sleepover was going to be over, and I was going to go back to my house and it was going to be Kipling. I played cops and robbers and pirates and all the rest when I was a kid, but I didn't want to grow up and be an actor and play cops and robbers and pirates. I wanted to grow up and be that, be cops and robbers and pirates. I grew up a Red Sox fan. I grew up going to Fenway Park and the Museum of Fine Arts and the Science Museum and Symphony Hall and going to the Common, walking around. My whole family at different times lived and worked in Boston. For me, when working on a film or play or television show, everything for me starts with the screenplay, and I am devoted to that, and that is what I work from. Any research I do or any preparation I do on my own is all ultimately in service of that. Acting is a great way to make a living, especially when I consider what my alternatives were and probably still are. I mean, you are only making movies. It is a lot less pressure than being a surgeon, although it seemed like the only other thing that I was qualified for was manual labor.